Okay, so we are live to something I'm now calling Vantage Point Conversation. So uh, there's a guy called ET who I'm actually having um, a live with in a few weeks. He's quite an experienced person on branding, and he said I should call this something so that people understand what this branding is. So for all my audience, welcome back to Shannon Andrews. Shannon, I think we're going to have to go a little bit over background because not everyone will have seen our first episode. So we were just talking before we went live. Ultimately, we had a conversation, we think about 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So do you want to, before we jump in and go over the context of our last conversation, just who you are and what you're currently trying to do, if that's okay?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Colin. I'm Shannon. I'm the founder of the Authority Engine. It was a system that I made to help experts and myself stay visible online. It, in the view of being credible and not losing your voice, and it worked. It worked a treat. I went from posting in bursts every so often and to disappear to posting consistently for a month. So I thought I'd cracked it. I felt like I was really onto something. But the more I used my system to write my content for me, the less connected I felt to it, and the more drawn I was to human written posts, the ones that were very honest. I tend to use the word vulnerable, but I want to steer away from vulnerable, but just the ones that held the emotion to whatever the person was saying, the ones where I felt over time I was getting to know them and their personality. And I would see a post and it would always resonate, like the message or the feeling behind it was always the same. I was like, oh, wow, that's their energy. I get it. So I had to pause for a moment, because what does that mean for a system that I'm using? Yes, I stand by human input. And yes, I stand by human review, but there was a system that took over in the middle. So what does that say if I'm feeling disconnected from it and drawn to human? So I stopped using my system and instead turned it into the authority experiment, in the view of finding the way to navigate all the tools we have, AI that's on offer, and to keep our authentic voice. Like, how much could we use before we sound robotic, before people check out and go, yeah, that's not them talking. So that's where, or why the experiment started. So I had, the first month was to find my voice, start writing completely without AI, and we can talk about that's been delightful, fun, delightful. And then the second phase was to start introducing AI in different ways and be transparent about it, and to show what works and what doesn't, in the view of building my next system all around human connection, because I'm new to LinkedIn as well, just to throw that in the mix. And I didn't realize, building in public, how much everybody wants human connection. They want to feel that from you. They don't want a polished version of you. They don't want to hear perfect words. They actually want to see the human in you. So yeah, like I just touched on there, I've built this system, or iterated over several versions, all in private, not talking to anyone. And then as soon as I go to use it, I'm like, oh yeah, people actually want to connect with me. So it's been a real learning curve and journey so far. I believe there is a way to do what I desire. I believe when I find the way, it will help a lot of people get started with their content. It will support them, because I don't know what the number is, but I know there's only a very small amount of people that actually post on LinkedIn. So why is that? And can I support a percentage of people start sharing their story and give value and that to their audience, and grow in authority in their niche? So that's everything in a nutshell.
It's amazing. I love the summary. It's crystal clear, and I think it's so useful. And I'm so grateful for you showing up. So before this live, I said I wasn't trying to use you as a guinea pig, but I think what I love about you and your process is that you are going through something that sometimes feels so painful in so many ways, putting yourself out there, building in public. And if you take anything away from this conversation, it's just how amazing that you are to do all of that. And I know during our first conversation, you said, okay, I'm going to do this. And then I've asked you very short notice to come on and have this conversation. And I cannot express how grateful I am for you doing that for me, but also to come. And again, I don't really like the word vulnerable. I think it's just expressing what's going on. And
Yeah.
I think that's one of the great things about you, that you are prepared to put yourself out there. And we can talk about Instagram in a little bit, but what I took from our first conversation is that you're really using technology and seeing how that can help, and overlaying that and understanding that human part. And it's so interesting for me because the way it works for the way that I do things, I post every day. I have done for, I don't honestly know. Let's throw it out there and say a year. I don't know if that's true or
Okay.
false. I've just become, it's just become a habit of posting, and I've gone through different ways of doing it. There are people that say, okay, you should write authentically. You should write about certain topics. You should write about only 3 topics so people know that you stand for these certain things, and then they come to you. And there is this idea of niche, which I have really struggled with for a long time. So I've done different types of business, and when I say I've done different types of business, I haven't got them off the ground. I created a company in the UK with an idea that it would be a processing modeling course that I would train people, because I thought it was a great idea. I've tried in very different ways to do that, never worked. I've recently started Vantage Point in Luxembourg because I was unemployed, and with the idea that I would become a consultant to help leaders connect with their people. Failing all of that, I came up with the idea that for a year, I will just do 2 LinkedIn lives a week, talking to people. And it was more focused on people and a bit around business. But I still don't know what my niche is. I still don't have a niche. And everyone that I've ever come across says you find your niche and then things just skyrocket, and everything, you connect with the right people, your language changes, how you speak to them, and everything flies from there. And I have come across quite a few people who have had said that actually works. Now, the
Okay.
problem for me is that I don't know what my niche is. I've
Mhm.
tried many times. And I think at the moment for me, I think I need to just keep going until the niche reveals itself to me,
Mhm.
because every time I've tried to pick a niche, I've done it too early, and then I've tried to. A lot of the times, people say create an avatar who you're actually speaking to,
Yeah.
and the reality is I create an avatar, either it's a version of myself or someone that I've made up, and that never really lands. So I think through these series of conversations and the direction and the feedback from other people, that might, and again, I have no idea if that's going to happen, reveal a niche, maybe. But what happens if I don't pick a niche? Am I just going to be lost in space forever? I don't know. So again, in all of this, in all of the business books I've ever read, the courses I've taken, everything, there's so many things that people have said, right, do this, do this, do this, and it's following a structure. And I've done a lot of that. What gets in the way a lot of times is myself, my overthinking,
Mhm.
my blocks about how it's got to work or whatever, and I've always found it hugely frustrating, because it's not like I'm lazy. It's not that it doesn't work. I just seem to be getting in my own way,
Yeah.
until I said, get rid of everything, do the 2 LinkedIn lives for a year, see where it goes, take all the shiny objects that I like, a website and funnels and everything like that. And until that point, things didn't really move very quickly for me. I still don't make any money. I've just committed to this and I've taken a lot of the noise away. But that hasn't revealed a niche. It hasn't, all it's revealed is amazing conversations. And I think the biggest part, which I'm going to make this all tie up nicely with a nice bow, is that human part.
Yeah.
And that's why I like speaking to you, because you are so human, so human. And the fact that you're putting yourself out there is amazing, because we have this idea that it all needs to be perfect, and that idea of perfect can be a vision of what we see on social media or other people doing things, or it can be a version of what we think it should look like in our heads.
Yeah.
And sometimes that can be such a wrestle to go, well, no, it's not good enough, etc., etc. And then that often, well, it has often stopped me doing stuff. And you share your journey and you're so honest about it, and I absolutely love that, because your thinking is just out there. You sort of say, okay, how it's been, what you're going through, and you continue to do it, and you continue to do it in public, and that is very courageous. And I applaud you for doing it, because I never did it. I wouldn't even know where to start with doing that. And when you started Instagram, I have to say, I was like, Jesus, she's just done that. That's amazing, because I'm not on Instagram. Well, I'm on Instagram, but I'm not posting about that. So a lot of words I've just said. Hopefully that makes sense. But from all of that, I think you need to take that you are doing something amazing and putting yourself out there, and all that struggle and everything that's going on will be worthwhile. And you are very brave for doing it. So yeah, does any of that land with you?
No, it does. I have to say, for the record, I'm very jealous of your posts, because every single one just resonates for me. And I'm like, how do you write like this every single day? And for me, I've worked out that, I think I said to you, well, our last LinkedIn Live, I prepared all these things I wanted to say, and I was so disappointed after. I couldn't focus on the fact I just had my first LinkedIn Live. I was focusing on all the things that I haven't said, because I was preparing for a version of me that's in the future. And I've since forcing myself to write without AI, I've struggled with the same thing, because I start typing and I'm like, oh no, that's not good enough, or oh no, I need to say it better than that. And I jump from draft to draft, trying to find the best version of myself, what I think people want to hear, not necessarily where I am. So where I am now is I'm further along and I'm much better, and I'm finding that process easier. But the start was awful. Like some of my posts will explain, 2 days one post took, obviously not typing for 2 days, but in and out of different drafts for 2 days just to write one singular post. It's taken, I've unpacked a lot of why I am why I do that. And it comes down to perfectionism, trying to be perfect and not just allow myself to express what I'm thinking and where I am. And for me, AI turns out is like the worst thing for me. And until I've let my voice stabilize and get comfortable with being human and me, anybody that struggles with that, yeah, AI is just a recipe, because whatever you feed it, it's just going to amplify. It's not going to, if you're uncertain in your messaging or who you are, what you want to say, it's just going to go wider. It's not going to narrow you down. You're not going to sound more like yourself. You need to find yourself first before you can use AI to complement you. So I've learned in this journey so far that I was using AI too soon. And although I was saying, oh, human first and human review, if the human first isn't authentically you, then you're failing from the get-go. And that's where I was at. So it's really taken a lot. And I've tried different things. I've tried, so what did somebody say? To write my thoughts down first. And I think, oh, wow, yeah, this is working. Then I'd sit straight at the computer and I'd start again. I'm like, oh, no, like this. So I really had to just dig deep and allow myself to be me, where I am. which hasn't been easy, especially when I read posts like yours and I'm just jealous. I'm like, your posts take me on a journey. I'm like, yeah, I resonate with all of that. So yeah, it's getting comfortable with where I am, because I'm comparing myself to you, and I've been doing this, what, 5-6 weeks, and you just said that you've been doing it for a year, right? Posting.
Yeah.
So it's just getting super comfortable with where you are, because there is so much noise on LinkedIn or whatever platform you're on. It's so easy to get drawn in and then just doubt yourself, and everything goes wrong then. So
Yeah, I think you said so much that's interesting for me. So I think thank you for the compliment, by the way. Let's not. I'm taking compliments now.
yeah,
If you'd asked me 6 weeks ago, compliments would have been pushed back. And
I read that post.
Yeah, and but that's the thing, and I think I it's easy to look at other people and think they've got it worked out, and the reality, I have nothing worked out. I've just continued to put one foot in front of the other, and it might look like I've got stuff worked out, but I haven't. I think biggest things for me were not looking outside, but looking inside. So I've mentioned this many times, but I've struggled most of my life comparing myself to other people. Excuse me. I struggled with people pleasing. I didn't actually know. So I've read books on authenticity, and I'm like, yeah, that's great. I also came from a world of corporates where you're not actually yourself. You're not allowed to be yourself. You have to be a corporate version of yourself that fits in with that corporate. And unshackling all of that is, if I say painful, it doesn't all happen at once, and I think it's only through discovery, only by taking that step forward. And believe me, I think you experience a lot of stuff in a very short period of time. I think my experience, let's just work on the assumption that I've been doing it for a year, because I've just forgotten that is how long it is. But I think mine has been drawn out, and your experiment and the way that you're doing things is all in a very short period of time, and that must feel very painful, because mine has been sort of ups and downs over a longer period. You're doing this and you say like 5 weeks. That's huge. So your progress is actually, whilst painful and probably going around in circles, feeling that you're 2 steps back, 1 step forward, will actually, take you on a trajectory. And the fact that you're doing it and that we're talking about it, I think, you will take off. It's just, mine's just been a longer journey. So, and something I've always not compared myself. I've always felt other people were better than me, and I think making my journey my own has been the best thing, because now I don't look to anyone else. I don't feel, I don't compare myself. I just go, I'm doing my thing. And if there's another person that looks very similar and is doing the same thing, that's also okay. I don't see the competition in my head or any of that. And I can't explain what it was. But to get to this point, there was a lot of, misadventures in going this and thinking that. And I think I spent so long looking for the outside world to validate the inside. And now it's more about inside first and outside. And there is nothing in there that says I've got that figured out. I'm just trying. And the reality is, you're helping me do that, because having these conversations and just being able to do what I'm doing really enforces for me, okay, I'm enjoying it and I'm loving it, and I get to have these conversations, and that for me is absolutely outstanding. And I love what you're doing because of this human side and AI, because everyone's saying AI is amazing and it's great, and I absolutely believe that. but you're also reinforcing the message that I'm seeing a lot about that human side. And I strongly believe, as you do, that there is a balance of that.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
and AI can absolutely help us. So I'll be 100% honest. I use AI to do my content, not in a very structured way. Look, let's just reveal how I do it. So I'll show you all the things that I've ever done. So I took the Justin Welsh content course. I did it, I don't know, a year or 18 months ago. And he said, oh, here's the spreadsheet. You got to think about topics. You've got to think about different angles, etc. And I wrote loads of stuff. And then you can plan your content way in advance. You could have like 3 months of content. You can just write it. So I went through this cycle of writing content almost 20 days in advance. And I would come up with all these subjects. I come up with all this ideas and everything. And in the beginning, I got some LinkedIn love from the algorithm, and people sort of said, "Oh, I like this, I like this," and you go, "Oh, cool." And we've discussed this, and
Yeah.
then what happens? I don't know what the time limit is, a month or 6 weeks. Then the love from the LinkedIn algorithm just dies,
Mine happened
and
quicker than that.
yeah, and I've heard it a lot, and it hurts a lot because I thought that I was on a track, and I thought, oh, this is resonating. And I think when you start any new venture, you look for any sort of metric that sort of says, I'm good, I'm valuable at what I'm doing, this resonates with people. And then it feels like there's a big stick that someone's punishing you with. And you go, but I've done the thing that everyone else told me to do. And I followed that. And I was like, why am I not getting the impressions? Why has it all gone down? I did have this assumption that my post should go viral because everyone's going to sell you a course to tell you how you go viral. And I've done that. I've done posts where I've done a couple of days in advance. I've done posts that I've said, okay, I need something I haven't posted today, quick, just to do that. And in all of that, where I land today, I am posting on a daily basis. So I use this software called Buffer, and it's a scheduling thing. So you can basically plan them all out and then put a release schedule. You can do it when you want, and it sort of says, okay, it's a good time to release this to LinkedIn or to Instagram or wherever. So I still use the software, but not in the same way that I used to, because I used to want to have this big backlog of things that I wanted to go through. What I found recently is that the conversations I have, like this one, will spark many ideas. And I can turn that into content. And because it either highlights something about myself or something that I'm seeing in others that you go, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And so I don't actually plan too far in advance. And most of the time, I am posting. So I write the content with the use of ChatGPT. But the reality is I'm just putting a lot of what I think, and it's all this jumbled mess. But I think and I say the phrases, and that is truly me. That is just, and what at the end of it, I'll go, yeah, chat, just go and sort that out with you. And then it comes up with stuff. And so I don't know how much. So then I proofread it, and I would say 90% is me, 10% is, let's say 80-20, and that's easier to sit with, because the structure of what I've said, because I may have had a thought, and then I've said loads of things, loads of comments, and then I've said something else, and then I've said something else which relates here.
Yeah.
had I have done that on my own, free typing and editing and proofreading and keep going, I would have sat there for 2 weeks, like you say, just going, okay, this is not right.
Yeah.
So I use ChatGPT in enough to say, look, I'm going to brain vomit everything, the way, the wording, etc., and then it just sort of unjumbles it and maybe puts a bit of connection. But at the end of it, when I look at it, I just say, is that me? And I can see the phrases, the words that I use, etc., they come from inside of me.
Yeah.
There's just, it's reordered and restructured, maybe a bit of a connection. And the edit process for me can be very difficult because of that perfectionist side. So I've accepted that I will use ChatGPT without guilt, without thinking, okay, I'm doing something wrong or it's not me, because I feel that it's enough. And sometimes chat will come up with stuff and I'll go, well, no, that's not true. And it'll say something and I'm like, no, that doesn't feel. And I just take that out. And for the last, I'd say 2-3 weeks, I've been doing that. And I've been posting at roughly the trying to do it in the morning, but then I post it like today. I don't actually believe I've done any content because I was busy with other stuff. All I try to hold myself accountable is that I do a content every day, and maybe at the weekend I'll do 2 posts because I know that either I'm not going to be at my computer or I won't. I need to focus on the kids or something like that. And I've tried to unpack that and go, where am I with content posting? And I feel quite comfortable. I don't feel this because I think there's a lot of pressure to post all the time, and there's a lot of pressure to be perfect or to write something that's got to land with everyone or smash the algorithm apart and it just shows you all the love in the world. And somehow, I don't know if that is just through volume, that I don't care as much. I care that I post. I hold myself accountable for that. But the human side is through the conversations that I've had and the interactions that I've had, and either something that's shown up for me or I can see from other people.
Yeah.
So it's that weird mix. And I think that I'm comfortable with it. And I've taken the pressure off. It's got to be released. I think my time is 9:42 that this buffer uses. And I'm like, okay, if it doesn't get posted at that time, it's okay. But there are a million people who will tell you consistency is key. It has to be this time. That's when the audience is.
And what about
trying.
posting like engagement before and after? Do you believe in that?
Nope.
No.
So I signed up for all of that. Justin Welsh says,
sorry to interrupt, but that adds so much pressure as well into when you post, and you can't schedule it because, oh, well, you can schedule it, but then there's the pressure of, oh, well, I need to be on my computer before and after.
yeah.
So that causes me a lot of frustration.
So I have absolutely done that. I did that. I set myself a timer to say, right, I need to be at my computer half an hour before and half an hour afterwards. And I did that for, let's say, 6 months of that, if not longer. But what's happened is in my LinkedIn feed, I'm getting a lot of stuff that I just don't like. I'm like, what's this? It's a lot of people that are clearly trying to sell something. People taking pictures of themselves in a bathroom or in a lift or something like that. And I'm like, why is it showing me that? And I go, well, I don't actually. I think for a long time I would actually comment on that or try to make inroads with people that had a sort of more of a following and stuff like that. And at the end, I was like, no, that feels inauthentic to me. So I do scan down, and I mean, you're on my list because for me, you have this mix of intrigue and there's a lot of knowledge that I gain from you for where you are, and I'm a big supporter of you anyway, from what you're doing and how you're doing it and how you're showing up. But I'm interested in how that's working and what I can learn from you. So I feel that's just a great relationship to be in. Whereas a lot of people, it's just like, oh, okay. And I honestly, sometimes I scroll down and I'm like, does LinkedIn actually understand who I am or what I'm interested in? And so the problem is I'm trying to win what I was trying to win a game that I was never designed to win. So
Mm,
now I just go, I'm going to do my lives. I'm reaching out, having that human contact. And the posts that I write are based around human. And don't get me wrong, not every day am I inspired. Not every day. And some days I go, what the fuck should I write about? And I'll just write about something. Some days it feels like genius and no one likes it. Some days I write what it's just like, oh yeah, I had a cup of coffee and I burnt myself. Oh, that's a terrible day, or something. I've never actually written that post, but you can kind of get the idea. And I took that pressure away of trying to win that game because I felt that it was
mm,
never something I could win. Where I would put my time was the connection with people and the connection with myself and write more from the heart.
mhm,
Um, and then I don't track my numbers anymore, but I know that I'm over 6,000 followers. I do that daily outreach. So I reach out to 20 people a day. Again, aspirational, doesn't always happen. I forget to do it. But I do have conversations with people. I have to in order to get people um, to come and talk to me on LinkedIn Lives. Now, I have um, a lot of conversations, and I have to put the emphasis on those conversations. Some people immediately think that I'm going to sell them. Luckily, I have nothing to sell. I'm quite interested. Some people don't want to respond. Some people just answer very basically, and I'm like, okay, I respect their time.
mhm,
But in all of that, I think all I'm trying to do is build trust, but not in a quick way where you go, because I believe that I'm a trustworthy person, but that takes a lot longer online. And that trust is guarded by this algorithm.
mm,
And I have no control over that. So, uh, yeah, I've just stopped trying to play the game that everyone will sell me a course to explain how to get around that, because that's tiring. It's
yeah, it is.
exhausting.
Yeah.
And it's all consuming in terms of, okay, I'm trying to do something that I believe in, and I'm also trying to play this game. So I just stopped playing the game and
Mm,
tried just to do the thing that I like doing, and I'm doing that, and thankfully people like it. But make no mistakes, I'm not. I don't have a huge following. People aren't hitting me up every day going, "Oh, come work for me. I'll give you money." Or anything. It's not at that stage. But I genuinely feel very blessed that I get to have these conversations, and I get to have that I can call upon you at the last minute to come and have this conversation. We can go and talk about that. So um, I don't know if I'm being stupid. Let's say silly, not stupid, because I'm trying to change the language I speak to myself. Um, whether I'm being ignorant to the game and just being a kid that's thrown his toys out the pram and said, I don't want to play it anymore because it wasn't working for me. Or I've just gone, no, I'm going to do it my way. I'm not sure. I'm more comfortable doing it this way because I've tried it the other way. And sorry, I know I'm doing a lot of the talking. I want to throw it over to you in a second, but I would much rather it not work knowing I've done it this way than try to play a game, like I say, that I don't think I'm ever going to win, or I'm want to master. I don't know that I have the depth in me to master that. I'm not a gamer. I'm not someone that can do that. I'm just going to show up authentically as me. But when I say authentically, that is also backed up by AI, and I use AI, I use systems, etc. So sometimes that's felt not very genuine, because you go, oh, okay, to the outside world, that might look like I'm just posting, I'm showing up, but there's systems, there's processes all behind that. But I'm comfortable that they support me in enough way that, but I'm still putting myself out there as a human being.
For sure. And your posts scream you and your personality. Like, I learn more about you in through all of your posts. And I think the way that you're using AI is the perfect way. You're throwing all of you into it. You're not expecting AI to come up with stuff. And then when it doesn't sound like you, you're like, yeah, thanks, but no thanks. I think people are not a fan of AI when people just say, write me a post about da 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 da, and off it goes, and they post it. That's where there's going to be a real disconnect, and that's where the problem is. And people are getting more wise to it. Like yesterday, I had a call. My phone rings. I pick up the call, and I'm like, as soon as the voice, I hear the voice, I'm like, I let it go for about 30 seconds, and I'm like, that's AI. That is utter nonsense, and put the phone down. Like, how people think that's going to work, I don't know. And the same with my husband, Durin. He'll get calls from a recruiter. They don't pick up the phone. And I'm not saying this is how they all work, but some of them now, they don't pick up the phone, relationship building. He gets this message going, we think we found you a job. Give us a call. And he's like, yeah, no, thanks. So there's lots of ways it can be used. People are abusing it to save time and, speed everything up, but it comes back to connection. And the reason that we're talking is because we connected as humans, and we've built a friendship now from that, which is amazing. So it is that fine line that I'm looking for. And for you yourself, writing your content, you've got a good balance of, it's all coming from me, but I'm going to use the tools that are out there just to get my message clear. That's essentially it, isn't it? It's, as I like to do, I like to ramble. If I just, went with my first draft, well, I have been going with my first draft, which takes so long. But no, it's it's finding how to use the tools effectively. And there's going to be writers out there that stand by, I write everything myself, but we're not all gifted with being a writer. That's not my forte, So we're in a world now where we have support and tools. So, it's just navigating it, for the best. So.
Yeah, and I think it's just understanding where you can use technology to help and what's replacing, and that's what I like about your journey, is because you're experimenting to see what that line is. And do you think there is a definitive line, or that line moves in terms of the technology you're using, how you're showing up, how you feel on the day? Could you just draw like a definitive line? What do you think?
No, and I think it's going to come down to, as well, is how much do you want to share of yourself? Because some people aren't going to be comfortable, especially from corporate. I keep hearing this. I was at an event yesterday, and there was people that sort of like breathed a sigh of relief and said, oh, I'm out of corporate now. And, they were doing their own business, and the sense of relief that they could just be themselves. But I guess it comes down to how much you really want to share to your audience. So, yeah, what's the question?
Yeah, just where the line you draw, and like, is it a line that like you sort of draw and it is fixed, or do you think it's a wavy line in different regards? Like, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, at this stage, I don't have an answer. I haven't. I know where I was going wrong with AI. In my system, the authority engine, I know where I was going wrong, but I haven't started implementing or testing any of those changes yet. The process of writing myself has actually taken over that side, because I didn't realize, I thought I would just stop using AI and I'd just be able to write. So it's actually, for a little bit, my journey's sort of gone off a little bit. I've done a bump in the road where I'm having to find myself first before I can really start bringing in AI. I never thought that I would have this problem. I know that I've always struggled writing content. I know that that's why I built the system in the first place. But in this journey, I've learned how important it is to be yourself. I thought I could just go like take AOI, just write and then bring it back and I'll sound better. But since understanding or my experience on LinkedIn and listening to people, and they just want to connect with you. But so I've gone like layers down now. It's not just, oh, I need to write me and be me. It's like, oh, I actually need to share, you know, that layer of myself and that layer. And that's what's going to connect with people. So yeah, I don't have the line yet. I'm keen to start experimenting. I'm a system builder, you know, I'm dying to just get back into it and see what works and what doesn't. That's my comfort zone. That's when I feel like, you know, I love the sort of try something, refine it, test it, and all of that. So I'm excited to see, is it a line or is it this, you know, on our third LinkedIn Live, I can share that answer. But for now, yeah, this is the thing. I'm in limbo still at the moment. And I desire to be building a business, and I'm just stuck in this sort of realm of no man's land at the moment, where I'm having days where I feel like I'm making progress, and then I have days where I'm like, I feel like I'm further back than ever before. So
yeah,
a lot of that is
what do you think you need in those days? Because I like, so I like working on my own, but I also like people and connecting with people. And so I work predominantly in my apartment, and there's part of me that says, okay, I'm missing the connection with people and that interaction. But at the same time, there are people that have advised me to do something, not do something completely different, but change the format of how I'm doing something. And before, I'd say years ago, I would be very insecure about that. And I'd go, okay, I'd either feel very vulnerable and not aggressive, but I would be like, oh, no, they're trying to change something. Or I'm doing it wrong, and now I kind of leaned into, I'm just going to try it my way. And there's no, I can't give you any backup. I can't give you any justification other than that's what I'm feeling at the time to do it. And I'm going to do it my way. And oftentimes that feels like it's everything against what everyone else is doing. And I know people said, you know, don't be a sheep and follow other people. And I'm not doing it because of that. I'm just trying to do stuff. But that world can be very lonely. And then I find, because I'm not around people, I haven't actually spoken to anyone. And then like something very small in my head becomes this massive boulder of a problem. And I'm like, unless I take myself out of the apartment or I go and interact, and I'm very grateful to go and pick my kids up, because I might run into another human, and then I get to talk about something else, and then that big boulder isn't so bad. But I don't. You have to be very self-aware to go, oh, this isn't actually as big a problem as it is. But if you don't have people around, that's hard to sort of catch yourself and pull yourself back. Does that make sense?
No, it does. And I've recently joined a group on school for that reason, just to feel like I'm part of something, so that I can feel like I'm giving back as well. You know, I don't just take from the group. I try and support where I can. I mean, it's early days, but I do need to talk, and the more I don't, the more inward I go, and you know, that's not going to build any kind of business. So I'm just trying to have these conversations, and the next hurdle for me will be to reach out to people, to suggest having a call, which is going to be a big step, but it's something that needs to happen. I just need to get comfortable with where I am, saying what I want to say. And does it intrigue you? Can we, you know, how do you use AI? Can I like maybe give you any advice on using it better, or like, are there any holes or support that I can help you with? Because it's just far too easy to go inward, yeah, when you're working at home. So yeah. And
if you don't mind, who are you targeting? Are you is this the people that are following your posts, or are these people you're looking outward to that you think you can help? Who do you want to start having these conversations with?
A mix of both, to hear all sides. People that are using it, how they're using it. If they're not, why not? You're against it, or you just don't know how to. So I kind of just want to reach out to offer, to have conversations with no pressure. Again, not selling anything right now, just to get comfortable hearing my voice and expressing what I want to say, and being okay with that, because I'm always a different version in my head where I think I'm more confident. And yesterday, for example, I thought it was an event, and I thought I was going to go there and I was going to make lots of connections and talk to everyone. But as soon as I got there, I just I could just feel myself instantly go in, because I was in a room of successful business women and one man. And instead of seeing it as a blessing to be in that environment, I just went inwards and just felt so incompetent, that I haven't mastered anything yet, that I didn't really get the full experience, which I'm a bit annoyed with myself with. I couldn't just sit there and be, oh, I'm grateful, let's learn from these people. I kind of went inward. So I know I have work there to, again, go and do more things like that, and more networking, and just break this barrier down of thinking I'm someone. Like, I need to actually back it up with some action, because it's very easy to say things as well, that I'm going to do that, I am this and I can do this, but it's another thing showing the evidence that you've done it.
So I'm impressed that you actually went, because I'm one of these people that likes to sit in my comfort zone a lot, and so there's a few people that I'm connected with in Luxembourg, and they're posting and they're like, oh yeah, I've got been to this networking event, I've met these people and spoken to these people, and I'm like, yeah, I didn't even know there was a networking event, because I think I sort of shut my eyes to the fact that, oh, okay, I've physically got to go somewhere and plan and be in a room where everybody's super nice, but in my head they're all much better than me. Why would they be interested in me? So there's a load of insecurities come up.
Yeah.
The fact that you actually even went is like, that's very inspiring to
yesterday
me, so.
Yes, sorry, you've just frozen there. Yes. Yesterday wasn't a networking, that was an event to like a business event with different speakers and things, but in the view of improving your messaging, and there was just a whole range of really valuable information there. But yeah, I just felt out of my comfort zone. But so that's good, I went, that's great. Networking, again, I always have this vision that I'm going to go and connect with all these different people, but then as soon as I have to actually talk about what I do, I sort of go inward. So I'm fully aware of that. So I just I'm trying to do it more, just to get comfortable with talking, because
this is what I love so much about you. You are 100% a sucker for punishment. You'll put yourself through it. You absolutely go, yeah, this was terrible, I'm beating myself up, I didn't speak, but yeah, I just need to keep going. And that is something we easily overlook, because yeah, I want to say resilience, and I don't know it's resilience, it's something else. It's the ability to go, okay, yeah, it didn't work out for me, but I'm going to go again, I'm going to keep going. And I think I don't know how that works for you, but I've said about confidence in the past. I always, when I've got X, then I'll be Y. So when I've got money, then I'll be confident. And I've realized for myself that actually confidence is built one step at a time. And oftentimes it's very small. And you can, oftentimes there's people or environments that can suck a lot of that confidence out. So it's either about removing those people from your life, or removing those situations, or doing it anyway. Some of those things don't drain energy. It's just how I show up.
Mm.
And you just go, oh, okay, I'm going to do it. And I might feel a bit scared or nervous, and I'm going to do it anyway. And then I prove to my brain, it's like, look, there's evidence that I can do it. But those steps are often not huge steps. They are just tiny, tiny steps. It might be the way that I'm speaking to myself, or the way that I spoke first to someone. I just engaged. And again, your experiment is in such a short period of time. I think the pain and the everything you experience is just this huge melting pot of amazing things. But I've done that over a longer period of time. So our journeys are different. Our experiences are probably the same, but just over a long period of time. But the fact that you're doing that is, yeah, you should. Well, you shouldn't. You don't have to do anything. But I think for me, that's very inspiring that you can do that. And one of the other points I want to make is that when people say, "Oh, you can start your own business, you can run your own thing," I've always been inspired by that, and I was like, "Yeah, I can do that. I can do that." And I almost see it as two sides of it. I can be technically very good, but to run a business and to do all the things that need to be done for a business, that how comfortable am I doing that? Like, I have to wear many hats. I have to be a different type of person. I have to overcome a lot of my own insecurities to do that. And I have to find ways to trick my brain to go, that's okay. And sometimes, so one of the worst things that I struggle with is admin. If you show me 3 pages of a form to fill out, especially in Luxembourg when it's a different language, it's like sticking needles in my eyes, and I'm like, and I will do anything to avoid doing that. But then when I look back, I go, yeah, there were 3 pages of information that I had all the information, but for some reason it's just so painful for me to do. And then I will avoid it for like 2 weeks, but then I do come back to it and I do get it done. But it's painful for doing it. And I think that's what people don't talk about a lot on business. They'll sell you a course and go, yeah, set up your company, do this, do this, do this. And they don't talk about that pain. And that pain is going to be different for everybody based on the insecurities you have, the things that you like, the way that you learn, the way that you apply yourself. And I'm going to tie it all back to you again, because even though you can see that these things are painful and you're going through it, you are still doing it. And that's why I've found you always inspiring, because you're doing it. And even when I think I know you, you go and do something else. Like, yeah, I'm going to a network or a business thing. Really? Like, that's amazing. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're always full of so many nice words. Maybe I need to record your voice, and play it on the bad days when they come, because they keep on coming. No, I just, I need to stay grateful for the experience, grateful to be learning, and have faith that something good will come out of it. Like you say, just stick with the process. And I keep, I'm tempted to, try and speed it up, to follow someone's way and do this and do that. But essentially, we have to sit in the pain and do the hard work. We have to live it. How are we going to sell? For me, how am I going to sell to whoever, like my audience, if I haven't lived this pain as I have? They're going to take one look at me and go, yeah, no, don't believe her. But when the day comes and I have a solution, they're going to feel my pain of, all of this, and hopefully I'll be able to resonate with a pool of people. They will be able to, get what I'm saying and be like, yeah, that's my person. I believe in Shannon as, she's done the hard work and she's come out the other side, and I believe she can help me on my journey. So I'm trying to just, accept it is going to take time. I can't speed it up too much. Yeah, I can listen to advice and things and that, but essentially I've got to put in the work and get better, not just grab onto someone and, see how fast I can move. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think oftentimes people say like overnight success, and we've talked about it before. Social media loves to glorify, people just absolutely smashing it all over the place, and the reality is very different. I actually created my first business. I set it up 7 years ago, nearly 8 years ago, and I closed it recently. I never made a penny in that account. I wasted a lot of money paying an accountant, uh, and I missed my deadlines to file things. Again, admin is not my friend. Um, and yeah, it's painful. There's a lot of stuff went on. I never made any money, but I had hopes and dreams that it was all going to be great. And I came close to closing it down, and then like you'd get this glimmer of hope that it was all going to work. And so that's 7, nearly 8 years of stuff. And no, it absolutely doesn't need to take that long. But looking back, when I started that company, I thought, okay, I'm going to put out a few posts. And I remember doing my first LinkedIn video. It was in this apartment, and it was on my laptop. The laptop was far away, and I got the video somewhere, and I saw it, and I was like, Jesus, this is absolutely shocking. But there was some pride in there. I looked at myself, um, and I didn't have a microphone. I think I was even speaking like I don't know. Maybe I was about 5 foot away, and so the sound was off. I looked really terrible. The lighting was poor. It was in the corner of this apartment. You could see the radiator in the background. The wallpaper was crappy and stuff like that. But I'm grateful to that guy that tried and gave up and tried something else, and that's been frustrated, and that's been horrible, horrible. And I've had restless nights. My brain's gone mental on me. It's frustrated, angry, and all of these emotions, all of these things that have built up have created this well of knowledge and experience and everything like that. And I think when you say that you like my posts, oftentimes because I can just go into that well and go, yeah, I've had 7, 8 years of this stuff, and I know what it's like. And that doesn't mean you have to all go through that, but going through the process allows you to connect with parts of you that are insecure, or like you say, vulnerable. But I don't want to say vulnerable, but that you're exposing yourself in a way, and you're taking directions that aren't quite aligned with you, but you're doing it at the point in time based on all the information around you. And then hindsight's a lovely thing, because you go, whoa, I just wasted my time trying to build this or do this. But I think all of those things, they all felt like dead ends, uh, poor experiments, but that's hindsight. And I think all of those things have led me to have these conversations today. And it's easy for me to sit here and say I'm grateful and it's good. When you're in it, it's so painful, and you want to be somewhere else. You want to be further forward. But I think it just creates this huge depth to you, and who you are and how you are, that will connect you with the right people. Because I believe that your solution, I haven't obviously seen it, but I know what you're trying to do, and you're bringing it with a human element. And you said it earlier that you're not naturally a writer, so you're trying to go into a world where you're learning to write, learning to bring yourself. And I think through that, obviously, you're going to get so much better over time, testing it and doing all those things. But there are so many people, because we're told that, yes, we've got to write content, we've got to write this, we've got to do that. And I do believe that, yes, you do need that for visibility, etc. And your solution not only will help people when you get there, but you as a person and how you've done it and the journey that you've been on, that you can absolutely sit in this chair one day and go, yeah, I've been there, I understand. And
Yeah.
that builds the connection. And I think maybe that's why I see something in you, and I genuinely believe, and I, like I said to you about when you showed up on Instagram, I was a bit like, why haven't I done that? And so I saw something in you that I was like, Jesus Christ, she's moving fast. And I know from your perspective, you're moving at a snail's pace, but I actually believe that you're moving a lot quicker than you believe you are,
Okay.
given that it's taken me 8 years and you're doing it in such a short period of time. You're just a sucker for punishment, but you are getting there. I can see it. It's just, yeah, and it's just taking maybe longer than maybe that you want.
Yeah, it's definitely taken longer, but I live by no regrets. So every sort of hiccup and hurdle and wrong turn is making me who I am today. So I started building systems about 3 years ago. The amount of iterations I've gone, and ironically, each time I've built, I've stripped back a layer of AI. So I'm hoping we're going to get to the solution soon, but yeah, going back to, I don't regret any of it. It means I can talk to you about how far I went that way and why I've come this way. I have proof and evidence. I can open up my scenarios and things that I've built, my processes, and you'd be like, whoa, wow, that looks amazing. I'll be like, yeah, but that's wrong. I've learned, so I don't regret anything. I guess I'm very grateful for this conversation. It's grounded me again, to be happy where I am and to just keep going, doing what I'm doing, finding along the way. I'm going to go up and down and round and, eventually come to a solution that I can be passionate about and know that I'm giving true value and, bring others along, with me. So, yeah, thank you for today. You've got me back on track.
That's all right. It's so I said before this, it was maybe a therapy session, but to be honest, I think I spoke more than I thought I was going to, because I think there's sometimes we don't speak about these things, and that's you actually allowed me to explain some of the stuff that I went through that I wasn't actually explaining to anyone or got to talk to it, because sometimes we've got amazing partners and people around us, but sometimes our journey is not one that resonates with those people, and that's absolutely okay, because our journey is our journey. But sometimes you go through stuff and you don't get to explain it. So for me, it's really great that when you connect with people that either can really relate to where you are. So and all of that is human, and we keep coming back to that human. We're talking about therapy, just like expressing how we are. And I found sometimes just having that conversation and just being human and being like lifting the lid on stuff and saying, yeah, it might look from the outside that it's all great, but actually there was this, and it's still this. And if that can help other people, great. That absolutely does not mean that I can't be great at what I'm doing. I think it actually makes me even better at what I'm doing, because I'm sharing that, and it reinforces, yeah, I can talk about this, I can do it. So there was a time when I didn't think I could hold a conversation for an hour, with people that I've only just met. I can absolutely do it. And so, yeah, it's just building up that confidence and evidence for myself. So
no, hats off to you.
Fantastic. Well, we've gone over the hour. Shannon, I will say it again, I'm inspired by you. I think you're doing an amazing job. You're putting yourself through a lot of pain. You're building in public. You're even on Instagram. So I'll link your Instagram feed on the repost of this, so people can follow where you are. Keep going. Yeah, we're staying in contact. I'm a big supporter of you. I see your posts. I look for them. You're in my feed. If you're in my feed, then I'm going to either read it or comment or whatever. So just know that there are people watching. You are doing an amazing job. Whatever your destination, you're enjoying the journey. You're doing the right thing for you, and just keep on doing that.
Thank you, Colin. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Great to talk.
Yeah. Next therapy session in a couple of weeks. All right.
Yeah. Cool.
Fantastic. Thanks, Shannon. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Shannon, sorry. Bye.